literally all I'm doing is marking out the range which certain intent relative to that which is witnessed within the most recent bar close, around that region that the market for X and line product, in this case the euro dollar exchange rate, where people can buy euros from the offer or from the bid at the rate in dollars that it costs them to buy that X amount of standardized quantity of euros $4 at, or sell X amount of euros $4 at on the bid and offer, and what sort of trading behavior is going on at the region which the market is set at as of that region, which is depicted in the price action, which is a derivative of trading behavior. So like here, this range of like, all markets are split up into ranges, and it's about determining what people's opinion of value is within a certain range, and you can determine that based on what sort of intent to trade has existed most recently with it at this region, and that similar range of prices similar to this region of prices at this area, and what sort of and how to what extent certain intent was exhibited, which is seen in the momentum of the bar close. And you can kind of get it just based on solely most recent bar close analysis itself, where that next bar is likely to form, like based on how this, for example, X most recent bar close, whichever that is at the given moment in time. In this case, it's on the weekly chart and it's relative to the most recent week. Therefore, this weekly candle worth of behavior or trading behavior, whatever that was that went on, how that most recent bar close close to the way it did amongst what consecutive bar pushes in play, and also what at-hand pushes in play, meaning like the more intricate movements. You can see it close right at the lows, like relative to the at-hand push in play. The way this bar closes, it's got very minimalistic opposing signs, and it would just be best to view through the lens of the consecutive bar push in play, because when viewed, this most recent bar close in the lens of what consecutive bar pushes in play, it's clear that it's likely to just keep pushing lower and for further bars to keep forming lower until, for example, a bar that forms completely opposing or with at least 50% or more opposing signs forms, which is also relevant to like what like the current quantity of bars contained within the given consecutive bar push in play, and where like the current recent bar close sat amongst whatever consecutive bar pushes in play is sat amongst the region of that consecutive bar push in play. So it's like at the low region, and how does this region of whatever consecutive bar push in play compare to the previous consecutive bar push? Well, we're kind of at the low region, so we're like and then also compare like the amount of consecutive bar closes in the past push compared to this push. So it's like relative to the candle quantity, it's overextended. Like relative to the price action range, it's not really overextended unless it gets below like this lower, yeah. But like that's just like recent bar close analysis relative to the consecutive bar push and the at-hand push, and then you differentiate when it's appropriate to view the way the most recent bar close closed the way it did in the consecutive bar push terms, to gauge what range of further price actions likely to go on within the next bar, like relative to whether that's relative to the at-hand push or the consecutive bar push. And anyway, yeah, so like you're determining what the most probable intent to trade is existing around this region with where the market's sat at, likely to like unfold over the course of that next week, right? Whilst the market is sat at this region of prices, what sort of behavior you can expect to gradually take course over the course of that next week whilst the underlying product sat at this region. And in this case, it's likely to really push here, and what do you know? And then here you got like a bar close with opposing signs. So I better just mark out this, because what I'm doing basically is I'm marking out the push to the valid the relevant week's push to points. So like for example, for this week we were poised to push to at least here, whereby we could expect what sort of intent to trade relative to the past week has been unfolding at the region with which the market is sat at over the course of a week. Hasn't been folded at this region. What sort of similar participation relative to the past week that we witnessed is probably going to unfold within what range of prices, which is closely comparable to that of the past bar. You know, like this range of prices is really similar to this, to where the market was able to be bought and sold at here, aka trade. You know, and then also based on the recent bar close analysis, like relative to the momentum, solely based on like technical factors, if you would want to call it that, like where you're literally just reading the formation of the bars, this next bar is likely to at least push to around here. To be honest, I would honestly say 500. I mean, look at that, it's just so clean. Like, of course, you'd be only looking at this, like as the most recent bar close. But then here we see, like, relative to how this most recent bar closed the way it did, it's likely to have momentum up to around here. Now, if you notice, I'm not going to look because I haven't actually, as you can see, I didn't scroll to see what happened within that bar. Like, certain past push 2 points, right? So this was the 29th of Jan's probable push 2 point, which was relative to consecutive bar push and play. Now, this also had clear movements relative to how the most recent bar closed relative to the Atan push and play. Like, it wick rejected the lower region. It's likely to have an immediate push to around here first, before then continuing down to here, based on the consecutive bar push. I chuckle because it's just like, it's an amazing way to read charts, this. Anyway, this was this push 2 point, but what I've noticed is that these push 2 points tend to act as future SR really well, and also they tend to act as following weeks. So this will be, so this is the 5th of Feb. What the fuck? Oh right, this is 2024. Yeah, okay. So this would be for the 12th. So then what I see, so I'm not looking. Of course, it's just one individual week too, so it's probably going to push there. Like, it's so high probable. Why too? It's because it's based on what sort of intent has went on within this most recent bar close. It's literally showing you how traders have been inclined to trade the underlying product at this region of prices, and then also based on the momentum poised to take hold relative to where this bar closed. Like, this wick rejected this lows. It's likely to have some sort of a reaction, at least where to, up to the whole price digit that resides in the path of that probable push 2 points. So it's like that whole clean price digit that resides in the path that where at least that next bar relative to sole recent bar close analysis is likely to push to, and then you pair that up with the underlying logic with like what that actually would mean, and it's basically that while traders are poised to trade the underlying product in a certain way, with whilst it's sat at this range of prices available to trade at least up to here. You know, so they're willing to interact with the market's available contracts placed on the bid and offer at this region, biased on the buy side all the way up to here. And that's just based on what sort of interaction we witness at this region, aka how the most recent bar closed the way how it did at this region, like most recently, how this most recent region of prices, like what people's opinion on value is, and how they're willing to do business at this region, aka like trade the underlying product on this occasion at this available rates, right? So that's it. So then basically like this would be the 12th of February's probable push 2 point. Then so then that's why you would expect, and let's have a look, whatever happens. Okay, so it doesn't, but then also, like I said, some push 2 points can act as the probable push 2 point for the next bar. So relative to the consecutive bar push, I would also anticipate this week after this to push to here relative to consecutive bar push, but then immediate term pushes like the Atan push and play, I would expect that around here. So like you've got another like example of a past push 2 point price digit acting as the same. So this will be for the 19th. So you've got the 19th of Feb here too. I'll just mark that up. 19th of Feb. 19th of Feb. And then basically I'm just marking this up for context. So yeah, as you can see, that was pretty nice. So this was relative to consecutive bar push and play. So look how bars like began to form. Like this bar had like 50% opposing signs compared to like the string of what side of the market had been consecutively pushing in over the course of, and you could, but like, you would probably want to wait for another bar close, and then what do you know? It's pretty much a 50% plus opposing bar flip. You could anticipate maybe a new trend to be in play relative to how the market is interacted with overall, But like immediate term, it's more immediate term. It's not like you're not like forecasting how like the next couple of bars are likely to form. You're literally anticipating a slight little segment of movement within that next bar. So it's a bit different. And it's like, for example, like here, like look at this. You've got a string of consecutive closed bars, and then you've got a bit of a wick rejection at the overextended relative to counter quantity, high region. And then you get an opposing bar flip. Look at this wick rejection to the downside though. But relative to consecutive bar push terms, it would be likely that this next bar, primarily the primary direction you see the market pushing is to the downside. But relative to the atom push, you would anticipate higher. But then the context of the market, it would be probably best to view through mainly the consecutive bar push lens, just based on you start the overextended high region, wick rejections already started to creep in relative to how overall traders were willing and inclined to do business at this region. What sort of value is placed on this region overall that holds more value than a little segment of like short term, especially if it's clear. Anyway, like what the aim is, like these are just establishing SR, right? So like for example, like this zone here, I would then like once this zone's confirmed, which is obviously generated from the 29th of January's most recent bar close to that week's probable existing intent existing within that range from the prior bar close, within the next bar close, within the next present bar open, and what sort of intent is likely to exist within that region with regard to how traders are probably going to be inclined to do business at that region. And then therefore where price action is likely to be facilitated, where you're likely to see the price action move to within that week, basically. In terms of how traders are willing to trade like at that region, and therefore obviously as trading as a result of traders' intent, and then obviously that then transcribes in the form of price action. Like that's how you kind of conjure that up. But anyway, I'm then looking to see how daily bar closes close around this region, and then when you get a nice daily close around like I'll just do this week's probable push 2 point, and then I'll just show you an example. So like here, this will be, I don't even care, like it probably does push to here, but it's okay. See, so it doesn't. So see, you can see that I'm not cherry picking. I mean, look, at the end of the day, if you're cherry picking, it's like what the hell is your goal, So is your goal to no, I just don't cherry pick. That's it. Anyway, so what I will then do is I will then drop down to the daily chart. So obviously I'm only up to the 26th of February's week, right? But that's okay. So 2 seconds. What the hell? Oh god. Okay, so we're doing 2024. Right, so what I will then do is basically look for like clean daily bar closes around these levels generated from weekly sort of interaction, and what sort of interaction went on within X week, and reveals what sort of intent traders have to trade the underlying product whilst it's sat at that region over the course of a week. So what sort of trading behaviour is going on over a week, and therefore seeing what sort of value is being placed on X underlying product at X region over X time scale. So, and what I've noticed is that these levels tend to act as really good SR, which, I mean, look, you can see here. So these levels are confirmed from the 22nd, and look at, and then this is February, so like, so all January levels in February are valid, right? So like, look at this. So look at the reaction here. Look at the reaction here. This and that. Like your strong close above. But like, I mean, look at this. Like that is just insane. So then basically, what I'm then doing is, as you can see, is what I've been doing on the DAX. So this is where I'm up to. Basically, what I'll do is once a week is week's level is like formed, I'll then simply mark out clean daily closes around this level and what sort of opinions on value traders are having with regard to what price action goes on, which is obviously the derivative of trading, and therefore how the traders don't trade willy-nilly. It's how they're willing to at X region. You know, how they're willing to behave, like, basically, with, like, the prices that are available to them to interact with. That shows you what intent they have, which is therefore, like, visible in the price action. Anyway, so then, this is what I'll be doing on the daily. So, it would just start off on the first week, and then, like, I'll also, like, mark out daily closes, which, like, close in the particular way that points towards market behavior pushing to the push 2 level. You know what I mean? So, like, this week, this level here is for the 1st of Jan. Now look at the way the prior bar closed to the 1st of Jan. Closed that. Obviously you're not trading on the 1st of Jan. It's closed. I don't know why it says that it opens then, but you get the gist. And this adds to the probable case to push to the January level. Then anyway, you got this nice bar closed through this level. Remember, these levels aren't confirmed because it's not been the 22nd of Jan, right? So, like, you're not, like, because, like, if these levels were confirmed, then, I mean, you know, it's quite close to these levels, isn't it? So it's like, it's already had quite an expansive range. Yeah, it is likely to continue lower, but do you want to bet? But, like, these levels aren't there anyway, so it's like you would just have this level for this, like, new year, right? Anyway, so then, like, even though you get a nice reaction from this level, right, which, like, it's not there, you know, it's not confirmed yet, so you basically only have this. Now look at this, it does come up and react, but it's like it's likely to go higher, so no, you're not doing anything here. This would be a sell, because you react from this level, of course. This is also a level, this 8th of January level is also in play, and you see here, right, so this is the 8th, so therefore if you get like a bar close that points towards like pushing to here, you would then mark up with a green line because you'd be bullish, and therefore you'd do a top-down analysis of establishing truly what intent exists at this region with what prices are available to interact with, and how traders have most recently shown willingness to pair up with those prices in that region, and what sort of intent therefore exists. So you can see here you've got quite a nice bar close that points towards this probable push 2 point, like being push 2, you know. But then this, I would probably have to mark it up, to be honest, because for all I know it could just blast up. Okay, so is there any levels here that you have? No. So 15th of Jan, there's no levels. Oh yeah, 15th of Jan. See, so there we go. So this bar close reacts from here and closes bearish. Look at it in the lens of the consecutive bar push in play. It does look good to go lower. Also on top of when there's an actual draw to the downside, aka like what sort of intent is likely to exist within this region of prices from this close to this point based on the weekly chart, in terms of weekly participation, what sort of intent they've had over the course of the week, right? So this would be fine, but like obviously relative to the immediate term, look, it is likely to go higher a little bit. I would probably say whole price digit around this point, and what do you know, you got 7, like that, you got that 7 mark, so it's 9700. God. Anyway, you get a strong close below, but look, it's not a strong sufficient anatomy bar close, so I wouldn't look at it. Anyway, then look at this. This is great. This is obviously, it did react from it, but look at how it closed at the closing region. What sort of intent resided at this region? It's likely to be bullish, so I wouldn't have that. But then look at this intent. This is likely to fall lower. Where is it reacting from? It's reacting from an existing SR level, so you would have that marked. And like I said, I'm not then going straight in and selling. I know that would probably work, but like no, I look for a specific setup within a specific time period, centered around what true intent actually exists relative to multiple time horizons, and form a setup around that. So if there's like 3 hour, 4 hour, slight 8 hour, 2 hour opposing intent to what directions poised to unfold, well then I'll need to see the market set up appropriately, let that probable intent play out, and then see some sort of sign that like has shown that that intent's already fizzled out, it's played out, and it's likely to now have that direction which we're likely to get on board based on all the other time frames and what's likely to take hold relative to the course of the daily, etc., etc. So anyway, 25th. So like for example, like here, you know, like this is the 5th of January. 22nd and 15th levels haven't confirmed, so I'm not marking this candle up as green. You know what I mean? It has to react from an existing SR point, which, remember, these SR points are derived from weekly probable intent to trade existing within certain ranges of prices from the weekly close to at least a certain whole price digit, and within that range what sort of primary intent traders are likely to have with regard to how they're willing to interact with what prices they have available to them to interact with. So we'll just go up to we'll just go, so yeah, 12th of February, 29th, 26th, 12th of Feb. So none of these levels are here. Monday. So what do you know? This level's confirmed as of the 29th, and so therefore I would have this marked up as red this day, because look, oh actually hang on, what the hell, no I wouldn't, because this level wasn't confirmed as of this day, right? So like I wouldn't have this marked up as red, but I would definitely have this marked up as green, because look, this level's confirmed as of the 29th. This 29th bar closes, which rejects the push 2 point level, and what do you know, and then anyway you get that again, and then yeah, here you close below, and then this would be really good. I mean, look at this, you reacting from this SR and you close as a strong bar close below. Obviously it's closing right at this future SR level, but it's not confirmed as of this point in time, right? So it's fine, you know, but like if this was confirmed you wouldn't be trading here, but like you get the gist. So 28, so there's no levels here that are confirmed as of this day. Oh actually hang on, 5th of Feb. Yeah, so this also coincides with the push 2 point, so that's just crazy. Anyway, this bar does close with a wick rejection, but closes below, so I wouldn't be looking to do anything. Nothing here. Oh god, this is a bit, I don't really know, to be honest. I mean, at the end of the day, right, you'd be doing a top-down, this is why you do a top-down analysis to see what true intent exists at this region, because clearly it was bullish, and there would be probably some signs showing first beforehand before further bullishness then took hold from this region. But to be honest, just based on this close, and it already expanded a heavy range to the downside, and they had a bit of a projection to the lows, I wouldn't be looking to do anything. This, yeah, here, this would be okay, looking at this bar through the lens of what consecutive bar pushes in play. Yes, it does have a bit of a wick rejection at the highs, but look how nice it reacted from the lows and closed as a pretty much an SABC in the lines of, in terms of consecutive bar push and play, which did make sense to view this bar close way through the lens of so this is the 29th of Jan, so this level's confirmed. 12th of Feb. 12th of Feb. So that's a push 2 point down. In that case, yeah, that's definitely valid. What the hell? This, no. 19th of Feb. No. Because like it has to react. Like if this level was confirmed beforehand, then yeah, this would be really good for sell this bar. Like as of this day, this bar would be good, and even this day here, as based on this bar close at this level. But like it's not confirmed, right? So so this level is 21st, so this level is valid. To be honest, this looks good for a sell this day. Of course, based on this recent, that's always based on the most recent close. Here, it closed with too much, it's just, like, it closed too close to this already in place support, right? So it's just like, no. And traders have already expressed their, like, showing that, like, expressed their bearishness opinion, basically. It's like, it's support. It's like price discovery mode, basically. Then you're reacting from this level quite nicely, to be honest, but then the consecutive bar push terms, this is an opposing bar flip after the market began to reject at the high region. You probably would have some foresight into this bar forming like this, but like I wouldn't bet based on the consecutive bar push and play. It's likely to come lower. See, so I'm not tricking myself. Like I'd read the market as if it was real time. I've just got to the point now where I can read the market as if it was real time, with it past the future chart. So anyway, this level's already in play, right? So this is 29th of Jan. Oof, this is a really good 29th of Jan, 12th of Feb, 19th of Feb. This is a really good bullish day. This 29th of Jan. This is a bit iffy, to be honest. You're in like the middle of this range with where the market's sat at on this occasion. Look at you. I didn't even realise, but you're also at yearly VWAP. I haven't got VWAP. Yeah, the 2025's VWAP. 2024's VWAP, this would be. I should mark that up as pink. I'll mark up the past year's VWAP as pink. It helps us discern, which is very important. Anyway, so you're basically looking at how once bars are formed, so you're basically looking at when there's a weekly probable push 2 point, how are the bars forming prior to that push 2 point being pushed to. Is our bars forming, are traders interacting with where the market's sat at in a particular way that points towards price action unraveling to that push 2 point, and then how, once it's got to a pre-existing push 2 point, how does the market react? Basically, it's that simple. 29th of Jan. Yeah, this is a really good day. Like, look. Well, it's not this is a level confirmed, because look at 12th of Feb, 19th of Feb, 29th of Jan, that is. Hang on. Yeah, so this isn't even the push 2 point. It's just that the 29th of February, so it coincided. What the hell? Okay, so yeah, but this would be okay. So this is for the 1st of March. Oh yeah, because we just went up to the 26th week. I remember. Yeah, so 26th of Feb. So the push 2 point. See, so that also goes on to what I was rambling on about, like, this push 2 point was here, but look, so like I could see how this reaction unfolded, but like I wouldn't bet on it, and I also wouldn't bet on downside based on this too. So it's like you're basically sat on your hands. Now basically then what I'm doing is I'm then like going so I'll go to X given day. Oh god. So I'll just show you exactly like an example. So basically what I'll do is if I'm bullish on this day based on the past day's close at an existing SR level, then that means I'm looking to do business with regard to this approach on the 29th of Feb, right? So therefore what I'm doing is I'm then going through all my time frames, seeing if there's a higher time frame loom on this day. So obviously it's the 29th of Feb, so we're looking to see whether a 4, 3 or 2 day bar closes on the 29th of Feb. If not, then your higher time frame loom is your daily. And then what you'll do is you'll mark out the daily objective based on which you can do just based on sole recent bar close analysis, and then pair that up with what logic that therefore implies. Now look at this, man. Like, you can't make, like, you really just can't make this up. It's just insane. So then you'll mark it up, obviously color coded. Daily is blue, weekly is yellow, monthly purple. I've always played it like that. And then basically what you'll do is you'll look at all time frame recent bar closes prior to the day you're looking to operate within session. So, and then also, like, you'll look at through the lens of, like, when, if it's appropriate to view, for example, the way that this 12-hour bar closed, through the lens of what consecutive bar pushes in play, or what Atan pushes in play, which in my opinion, based on the really clear, very there daily bullishness, this would be just bullish. You would kind of just be like, okay, well, you might need to see the market set up, but that's a minimalistic sign of bullishness. Well, you know, you got a bit of a reaction at the lows on the most recent bar close prior to the window you're looking to operate within. You do have a bit of a wick rejection on this. Of course, you would. I'm emulating as if I'm looking at the chart like this. So you might, if like backed up by the 4 and 3, that you need to be like, yeah, okay, you probably need to see the market set up on this day. Well, then wait for the market to set up based on like however the 1 hour set up. Yeah, so you probably will see. So the 3 hour backs up that case. 4 push into the downside based on this bar closing as a bearish bar close, pretty much at its lows. If viewed in the consecutive lens, and even somewhat the at and push lens, based on there being quite not very minimalistic opposing signs to this bearishness relative to the at and push, therefore it's not really likely to take hold relative. Therefore, it's best to just look at through the lens of the consecutive bar push in place. So, and then you'll obviously look at how the 1 hour most. Yeah, so there we go. You'll look at how the 1 hour bar closed the way however it did. Prior to kill zone, which 7 till 10, you know, I would just want to see, well, definitely a nice bar close from price is better than those that are readable at 7, and then whether I look at it below Asia low or wherever that is, that's contingent upon the probableness of that bearishness playing out to that point. So it's not really clear on the 4 hour, is it? Like in terms of bullishness. 8 hour also. So 9 hours a bit iffy. 12 hour, that then therefore reinforces that 12 hour slight intent. It's like, yeah, okay, you probably want to factor it in. I would just say you want to see a nice bar close below here. And obviously mark that up with 1 hour box. And based on my experience, this would be fine. This wick rejection occurring like this at this region, just go in, and basically what you do is you mark up the lower hand at the time of an entry setting up, see what it is, then go to a whole pip digit amount, which in this case would be 10 pips, and see whether that's enough to give. In my opinion, that's too much. I would probably go about there, just give it a good chunk, because remember, we're looking at like a certain sort of intent playing out from this region, relative to the daily close mainly in this case. It is somewhat there relative to the 9 hour, but like, what was the 3 hour like? Yeah, the 3 hour kind of pointed for lower, especially in the context of the 8 hour. This 3 hour back in that case, so 4 hour wasn't that iffy, wasn't that clean to be honest. 2 hour, the same thing, but just a bit shit. And then the 1 hour close relative to consecutive bar push, it was likely to go to at least there. And then yeah, you would definitely want to see a nice close. To be honest, I'd probably give it about 8 pips. Yeah, that's a solid. That's definitely the appropriate amount to give. And then target a fix 1 to 2. Of course, if you targeted the daily probable push 2 point, which I don't think I would be inclined to do so, you would hit TP and it would be quite a smooth exit. But like, nah, I don't. I'd rather just go for a fix 1 to 2 and play the risk to reward game with solid edge. So that's an example of what I'm looking to do on the DAX and the Euro. On a separate account, and I'll probably end up just trading the DAX and Euro, because like if you're taking on risk on 3, it's a bit much, to be honest. So I think what I'm going to do to make things less complicated is get rid of the pound, because I'm happy with this, to be honest. Like, not like with this, there's trades, so it concludes everything, no. But I'm happy with just trading the euro and the pound on this, with this sort of thing. Yeah. And then obviously, if we go onto this, and then we just go, I think we're up to like somewhere here, and then I just drop down and then go onto the 1 hour chart. And then I'm going to close my computer off. You can see like the sort of thing that's going on here. So like, also, if what I've noticed has happened a couple of times is like, you might be bullish on a given day, like this. You see, this is it. This is actually an example that like goes over what I'm showcasing. So you might be bullish as of a given day, aka as of this region, but then the market heavily expands higher, and it's like starting to clearly easily wick reject. Well, and then if you see the market set up to go to capitalize on this possible bearishness, then definitely like take advantage of it if the market sets up appropriately, which, as you can see, it did. You had that nice 1 hour close, execute, give an appropriate amount to give, like mark the high upper hand first, and then give the right chunk to give, and then what do you know, you get a nice win. Here, yeah, this was an amazing day. If you want to backtest it, to be honest, it's just an amazing system. Like, it's just really damn cool. It's something that you could really picture yourself doing in years to come. Yeah, and it's so robust. You've got particular points that you're looking to hone in on, and then you hone in on it very specifically to see whether that intent that you're looking for to be there actually exists. If it doesn't, like in this case, you'll find that out. It's at a key region of where distinct involvement is likely to take place at, therefore this involvement that's going on is likely to unfold. What do you know? So yeah, it's really cool. And yeah, I've also obviously got the dollar analysis thing, where like, you're determining DXY probable capital flow, and then you're looking to jump in on a movement that the dollar's likely to push into, executing on the stronger or weaker instrument out of AUD NZD, out of AUD NZD or Euro GBP, based on how traders are trading the Euro GBP or Australian dollar NZD. Are they selling the AUD NZD? Therefore, they're getting rid of the Australian dollars for the amount that they can sell the Australian dollars for in NZD, aka the specific standardized quantity of Australian dollars that they can sell for the amount that they can get and receive in NZD at whatever price rate that is, right? Which you would obviously see depicted in the chart if they're selling AUD NZD or buying AUD NZD. Therefore, they're buying they're buying Australian dollars for the amount that it costs them in NZD to buy X standardized quantity of Australian dollars. Yeah, that's it. And then obviously, if dollar is poised bearish, well, then you're looking for the stronger instrument out of order Euro GBP based on the daily chart and what daily activities like to go on. If it's unclear, go on your other time frames. You're not stuck with one time frame. Yeah, but that system is definitely there. But like, I've also kind of realised like it's a lot to manage, to be honest. Like this, I'm already looking at the euro and stuff, like every single day, Monday to Friday, and the pound every single day, Monday to Friday. I can easily add the DAX, and also it's a specific time period which I'm looking to operate within, which I'm already operating within, I should say, on euro anyway. So I'm more inclined to use this. Also, it's just so logical. Like, look at opinions and value within these ranges, man. It's just so. It's like like Paul Scott said, a range doesn't fail; it changes value. Changes value. Like, what's value on this occasion? It's of worth to buy. What's value here? It's of worth to sell. You know what I mean? So it's just value. Markets are all split up into ranges. It is literally that. So if I just go back as well, you can look at the respect that these ranges receive. So these range. Oh, actually, well, the market hasn't been trading here. So yeah, this is 2025, and still look at the respect that these ranges, these levels get. Look at the value. You can see participants' opinion on what value is within these ranges. It literally bounces between value. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's just brilliant. Anyway, that's it for today. This is an excellent video. Anyone will be able to learn something from this. So yeah.